atop the fourth wall where bad comics burn. So, let's catch up on last week, shall we? Big Barda, all-around ass-kicker from Apocalypse, was mind-controlled by the waste of fat called Sleaze to dance for a while. Superman, in the meantime, learned of a bunch of old people that were really old and decided to investigate. He proceeded to insult Big Barda before they fell into a very conveniently placed trapdoor. So let's dig into Action Comics number 593 and try to figure out how this story got past the editors. The cover's okay. We once again have that classic what the hell is going on thing that entices readers to buy, but the problem with this one is that while the conflict from the last cover could conceivably work, with this one you know they're not going to truly break up Big Barda and Mr. Miracle, who is strangely being carried off by bums. Maybe they think he's food. And oh yes, I should probably get into some backstory. You'll recall that the new gods come from two planets, New Genesis and Apocalypse. To keep the two worlds from engaging in all-out war, they agreed to exchange their sons with one another as a peace agreement.
Sounds wacky to me, too.
Darkseid put the child he received into the care of Granny Goodness. The child, named Scott Free, learned to become the greatest escape artist of the universe so he could flee Apocalypse and eventually came to Earth, adopting the moniker Mr. Miracle from a circus performer who mentored him. Big Barda also grew up on Apocalypse and was taken to become one of Granny Goodness's female Furies, but eventually rebelled and came to Earth, marrying Mr. Miracle. They lived happily ever after until DC decided that interesting and good stories were for dorks, and maiming and killing all the creations of Jack Kirby and friggin' Countdown and recreating them without the magic and wonder of the new gods was a far more interesting use of the characters than, you know, not sucking on toast. What's sad is that Countdown's little tie-in garbage wasn't even the worst thing that could have happened to Big Barda. No, that would be today's subject. We open to Mr. Miracle entering his home with one of the coolest, and yet completely impractical, security systems ever. He has to get past small laser tripwires using a bunch of tiny mirrors, input a password, pull out one of those pneumatic tube cylinders that you'd find at a bank, take the top of that, and then insert the key into the lock to become the doorknob. And all of that has to be done in 9 seconds or something detonates. I'm just saying that it seems like there's a lot of room to screw that up and have your house blow up by accident. Honey, I left the tiny mirrors inside the house. We're gonna have to sleep on the lawn again. Mr. Miracle walks into his home, and who should be waiting for him but our old pal Darkseid, and his favorite place to be when entering someone else's house, the couch. Okay, it's a comfy chair, not a couch, but still, it's Darkseid sitting in a big, pink, comfy chair. I love how he's even holding a brandy glass and crossing his legs like he's a guest host on Masterpiece Theater. Today on Masterpiece Theater, Darkseid brings you Laurence Olivier in Richard III. Oh, and I should also mention that Mr. Miracle's height-challenged pal Oberon is also with them. I can't really remember what he actually does for him. I don't know, his manager? Whatever. Point is, he's there too. Mr. Miracle demands to know what Darkseid has done with his wife, but Darkseid says he's done nothing directly. Darkseid says that he has something that will explain some of it. A videotape? It's a personal Zad. Being the ruler of Apocalypse is really getting lonely. Oberon tells Mr. Miracle to play the tape. Of course not. Let's face it, if Big Barda ever watched the Ring tape, any future copies of it would just feature the Ring Girl getting her face smashed against the well by Barda over and over. Though not certainly in this story. We get to see Oberon and Mr. Miracle's reactions to the tape. What is this tape? Can't say much for the production values. Is that a cardboard MRI machine? Looks like it was shot in a sewer. Scott, is that Barda? It is! I hardly recognized her under that awful makeup. What's she? Scott! Jeez, look at her. She's dancing like a maniac. A maniac! Like she's never danced before. My agents acquired this televisual feast from a small shop in Metropolis. A shop which specializes in such fare. So Darkseid routinely has his agents scouring Earth porno shops for videotapes? And joking aside, yeah, I'm serious. That's what the tape is. It's a friggin' porno tape. Now, of course, they never actually show the contents of the tape itself, so we can't know for certain what actually happens on it. But even then, this is what Barda was talking about when she said she suffered 2 days of indignities. She was either raped while under Sleaze's mind control, or was some sort of solo act, which is still a sexual assault in its own way. And for the record, Jack Kirby, guy who created not only the New Gods, but also helped create Captain America and the Fantastic Four, he supposedly based Big Barda's character on his own wife. I'll let that thought sit with you for a while. Mr. Miracle demands to know what Darkseid's role in all of this is, but Darkseid just tells him to calm down and that his rampant emotions won't help his wife. We then suddenly cut to Grossman Pictures, subtle, where Sleaze comes in. And yes, this is the porno studio where Big Barda apparently made her film debut. I've never had to produce so many copies so fast, but it was worth it. Word of mouth is bringing in orders in the thousands. It's been 2 days. I know porno movies have high turnover, but mass distribution and word of mouth spreading before the internet in just 2 days? Come to think of it, how the hell did Mr. Miracle not notice that he hasn't seen his wife in 2 days? Was Darkseid sitting there the whole time and Mr. Miracle just came home too tired and kept accidentally thinking Darkseid was Barda and never looking at him when he went to bed? Anyway, Sleaze has found a way to make the porno movies even more lucrative. He's brought in Superman. At first, the porn producer doesn't really believe it's him, but as a demonstration, Sleaze has Supes destroy the man's desk. Yeah, that's a good way to continue conducting business. Break your business partner's stuff.
I take it you are convinced? You can imagine, then, the profits to be made out of the proper exploitation.
Oh, goody. An exploitation Superman porno movie. This is like something the cinema snob should be reviewing.
My snob sense is tingling.
Sleaze also mentions that the money made from these porno movies will be used to create an army, no doubt to get his revenge on Darkseid. The good Mr. Grossman doesn't really give a crap. I don't know what your game is, but I think maybe you're overlooking something. There ain't much of a market for solo acts. Ah, the days before internet porn, when we learned that every conceivable fetish, namely everything, had a viable market for it. Any co-star's gonna wind up looking like my desk.
You forget, Grossman, I have already acquired the perfect co-star for the Man of Steel, the one and only Big Barda!
And it's right here where I can't ignore this point any longer. This is rape, plain and simple, for both of them. I do not have the time, and neither do you, audience, for me to give a lengthy diatribe on why using rape or any other kind of a sexual assault in a fictional story can be a really, really bad idea. However, I will link to someone smarter than me on the subject and read an insightful little bit. Take a good look at your story. Why do you think rape is what you need for it to progress? Is there something else that could fill the same function? Unless you have a damn good reason to include rape in a story, you probably shouldn't. Using sexual assault as a motivation in a box or an equivalent trope will do nothing but steal credibility and respect from a really serious, really important subject. Plus, you'll look like a twit. And that is what is happening here. What possible reason is there for this story to exist? Why did John Byrne think this was a good idea? Furthermore, what possible reason is there for Sleaze to be doing this? He says he wants an army, but he's got friggin' Superman under his control. Superman's beat up Darkseid so many times, his fist imprint is embedded in his skin. Why didn't you just take him to Apocalypse and have him deal with it? For that matter, if you have mind control this whole time, why haven't you raised an army sooner? Or stolen money from people? Why is amateur porn your only solution to this problem?
It just raises too many questions.